He's former Georgia Tech great Roddy Jones. I'm Jeff Fischel. You're watching the ACC Now on the ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. All right, I want Roddy's take on who's going to dominate this conference this year in the ACC. You've seen it. You're watching the games this year as part of the ACC network coverage. Okay, who do you think's the top of the heap for the ACC this year?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think there's a few teams up there that have really separated themselves over the last couple of years. You start off with Florida State. I mean, national champion 2 years ago, make it to the college football playoff last year. When you have a team that's that loaded at every position, you can never count them out. And Jalen Ramsey on defense, he's one of the premier defenders in this league.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think you start with Florida State, but not too far behind is Clemson. Last year, a little bit of turmoil at the quarterback position with Deshaun Watson being hurt for much of the year, but so many offensive skill position players that are great. Mike Williams, Artavis Scott, Wayne Gallman, obviously Deshaun Watson. So they're going to be super explosive on offense. The questions for them, defensively, they lose basically the entire defensive front and a lot of positions that they're going to have to address. But Mackenzie Alexander on the back end is a guy, another one.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the premier guys.
So now you've mentioned Florida State and Clemson. You haven't mentioned the alma mater.
I
haven't mentioned your Yellow Jackets, the defending Orange Bowl champs.
I know, and I'm probably going to get some crap for that. But I think Georgia Tech is right below those two, or maybe right in the mix with those two. Another team that has a lot coming back. Theirs is on defense, though. A ton of talent on defense, so they've got to be better. Justin Thomas on offense makes that thing run, and if they can find some help around him, B back, A back, in the receiver positions, it's a lot now, but they've got 4 out of 5 starters coming back on the offensive line, so there's a lot of reason for optimism on the flats.
I'll let you make it up to Georgia Tech fans right now. Can they make the college football playoff?
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, you've got to find those auxiliary pieces on the outside. You've got one in Broderick Snoddy that I think is a huge big play threat. And Justin's got to stay healthy the whole year. That's always your concern with your quarterback. But I think the defense is set up. It's always a question for Georgia Tech. The offense never is. The defense is set up where they can be one of the premier defenses in the ACC and maybe even in the country. That's the amount of talent that they have coming back and experience. Now, depth-wise, you might have some issues there. So, again, you got to stay healthy. But I think there's definitely a shot for Georgia Tech.
Okay, let's cut to it, though. Who's winning in Charlotte?
If you're making me put my money on it,
I'm making you right now. Let's go.
I think it's a matchup between Clemson and Georgia Tech.
Okay.
It'll be the second matchup of the year, and I think Clemson wins it. I think there's the offensive firepower that they have is just too much. And again, if Deshaun Watson's healthy, he made some plays last year that make you go wow and make you see why he's one of the premier players in the country. And I think that makes them special.
That's great stuff, Roddy Jones. I'm Jeff Fischel. You're watching the ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.